Well, I never thought this discussion would happen this soon, but here we are, and I think it's time to at least start asking the question: should the Cleveland Browns be looking for a new quarterback? If you know me at all, you know that I am a very big fan of Baker Mayfield. I've watched the guy his whole career, or his major part of his whole career, meaning from looking back at the Texas Tech days, going to Oklahoma, and then obviously his whole Browns career. I like the guy. I do. I think he can be a very good player. But what you've seen through the first 3 years of his career are a lot of highs, a lot of lows, a lot of good, and certainly a lot of bad. There are a lot of questions about Baker Mayfield. And to some people, they have never liked him. They never thought he was going to be good. They've been looking to move on from him since the day they picked him. I remember the night of that draft. I remember, talking to my boss, just casual football talk. And, he's a Browns fan as well. Just saying, I really don't think they will. But you know who they should pick number one? I think they should pick Baker Mayfield. And lo and behold, we obviously know now that's what they went on to do. They picked Baker Mayfield number one. And what made that draft interesting is there was no real consensus number one overall pick. And that's what makes the draft fun. We can speculate, we can talk about it. In the recent drafts, we knew Kyler Murray would be the number one overall pick. We knew that Joe Burrow would be the number one overall pick. And we certainly know this upcoming year that the New York Jets will be selecting Trevor Lawrence. But in that draft, we now look back at Lamar Jackson, picked at the end of the draft, MVP. We're looking at Josh Allen, who so far this year has seemed to be performing at an MVP level, who over the course of his career has taken huge strides. Sam Darnold hasn't really done anything, has not looked good at all in my opinion. But to be fair, he's never really been given a good chance to prove himself. And then you look at Baker Mayfield. Well, Josh Rosen went to Arizona. We know what happened. And now he's on a practice squad in Tampa. And we look at Baker Mayfield. Year one comes into a dysfunctional, trash, garbage organization, takes over the reins of a 0-16, 1-15, the 2 years before he arrived team, with getting the head coach and the offensive coordinator fired in the first year. Not a good offensive line, not a whole lot of weapons to work with. And Mayfield went on to break the rookie passing touchdown record held by Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson. We all remember that game. We all remember the game that Baker Mayfield came in against the New York Jets. And sure, the Jets are not a good team. They were not a good team at that point. But we got hope. We got hope that maybe this really was the guy. That maybe the guys that were all on the back of that jersey, all the names ended with one name. Baker Mayfield to be the quarterback that will lead the Cleveland Browns back into relevancy and back into a winning franchise. And we were left with so much hope from year one. Went into year two. Traded for Odell Beckham. Freddie Kitchens as the head coach. What do we get? We get the same old Cleveland Browns. Dysfunction. No discipline. terrible play, and Baker Mayfield took a huge, huge step back. This was a kick in the balls for about every single Browns fan on the face of the earth. Can this team turn it around? Can this team ever become the winner that it once was? So far this season, we get to 2020 going from having all the hope in the world that we finally picked the right quarterback. And we finally can turn this thing around and become winners, going from a 0-16 record to a 7-8-1 record. Then the year after, kicking the balls, setback, wake-up call, 6-10. 2020, same thing over again. New head coach, new GM. Why would it work now? It's what we all said. Kevin Stefanski was a guy who I did not want. I did not think that what this team needed was a coach that's never been a head coach before. He's hardly ever been an offensive coordinator for that matter. But so far this year, the Browns are 4-2. They have lost to the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have beat the Cincinnati Bengals, the Washington football team, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Indianapolis Colts. And Browns fans and media personnel, not all Browns fans, but a lot, are really done with the Baker Mayfield experiment. They believe that Case Keenum is somehow the savior of this team, and that if anybody else was behind that offensive line, they could take us to the promised land. Because this team is good enough no matter who's back there. But it's time to really think about this. It's time to put the feelings aside. It's time to put the hope and the expectations aside and really think about this. Is Baker Mayfield the problem, or can he be the solution that we thought he was? And I think to really answer that question, the only answer that will come will be with time. Browns fans are not the most patient people on the face of the earth. Even though they are the most loyal, they're not completely loyal to everything. Baker Mayfield this season has shown signs of the year one flashy quarterback who we thought he was. And then he's shown signs of the terrible, horrible decision-making quarterback of year two. Baker Mayfield was terrible against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and there's nothing else you could say about that. But does that mean that all hope is lost? Does Baker Mayfield not performing well with a nagging injury and going against a stacked, dominant, aggressive, killer Pittsburgh Steelers defense, does that mean it's time to move on? Number one, let's address the situation that we have in the quarterback room. Case Keenum was very good when Kevin Stefanski was quarterback coach in Minnesota. Case Keenum led the Minnesota Vikings to the playoffs, pulled off the Minneapolis Miracle, And then he went on to Denver. Denver thought they finally got a good quarterback. This guy's a veteran. This guy's reliable. He can get the job done. We've gone through so many quarterbacks, and this is the one who we at least know what he is. And that was a failure. That was a failure. Since then, Case Keenum went on to Washington. Washington then goes on to draft a quarterback in the first round in Dwayne Haskins. And we know what happened there. Or at least what's happening there with that situation. So, when you address this quarterback room, and of course this Kyle Lauletta, I'm not even going to talk about him. If you're really going to that level, then I don't know what to tell you. But is Case Keenum better than Baker Mayfield? It's a real question to ask. It is. Some of you are on the side of, wow, yeah, look what he did. Of course, Case Keenum is better than Baker Mayfield. Look what he did with Kevin Stefanski before. The guy's a veteran. He's not going to make mistakes. And then there's the side of Baker Mayfield is supposed to be your guy. You got to stick with him through the good and the bad. You got to figure out where he is, or what he is, where he's at. To me, Case Keenum is not better than Baker Mayfield. He's better than him at certain things. That is true. But when it comes to your future, the Cleveland Browns have a decision to make. Is Baker Mayfield your long-term franchise quarterback? You saw the Chicago Bears make a decision with Mitchell Trubisky. He's not their guy. Baker Mayfield he's got a lot to prove. Even though he's shown signs this year that he can get back to the rookie season form, he's shown signs that he's the guy of year 2. The guy who is terrible. When I say the answer is only going to come with time, what I mean by that is the Cleveland Browns will remain with Baker Mayfield as the starting quarterback of this team because they don't know. They don't have a definitive answer yet. They don't. We can pretend after one game of him playing terrible against the Steelers that means he's done. That's not how the NFL works. These decisions are made off of a These decisions are made off of a long period of time. The Cleveland Browns have been evaluating Baker Mayfield on is he the starting quarterback since day one. And who knows? Kevin Stefanski might love him. He might hate him. The deal is none of us really know what Andrew Berry, what Kevin Stefanski, and heck, what Baker Mayfield's thinking. Nobody really knows. But is it safe to say that Baker Mayfield's time is on the clock? It is. It is. It's safe to say that what he's shown over the last 2 years, not counting his rookie year, is not very good for being the future. And the Browns have gone through countless GMs, countless head coaches, and countless quarterbacks for that matter. And Baker has been the best quarterback this team has had since Bernie Kosar. So they're not just going to throw him away this quickly. We are 4-2. We have a lot of season left to go. They will keep Baker Mayfield as a starting quarterback because they need to know, is he the guy? We can argue. We can complain. We can tweet. But the truth is, we're not making the decisions. They are. And if you really analyze the situation right now in Cleveland, yes, the Cleveland Browns are winning mostly in spite of Baker. And he's not been perfect. But as far as replacing Baker, you're not going to have the number 1 overall pick back. You're not going to be able to sit there at the top and take Trevor Lawrence. There are 3 really, really good quarterbacks in this draft. Maybe 2 of them start for you day 1. One of them for sure. Likely 2. The third, he could, but I don't know. That remains to be seen. But besides that, there is not a whole lot of elite talent. KJ Costello, Kellen Mond. There's not a lot. And sure, it's easy to say we need to draft a new quarterback. We need to get our guy. Sure, that's easy to say. But the truth is, the only way you get an elite quarterback who's going to come in and start day 1 is if you trade up. And the only guy you're going to be able to trade up to get would either be Trey Lance or Justin Fields. And if you ask me today, Baker Mayfield or Justin Fields, I'm taking Justin Fields. If you ask me Trey Lance or Baker Mayfield, I don't know. I don't know if I'd have an answer for you. Because Baker Mayfield is very inconsistent. Like I said, we've seen the really good, we've seen the really bad, we've seen the great, we've seen the ugly. What is the consistency? Where is the consistency? The bottom line is, should the Browns be looking for a new quarterback if things don't go well the rest of the year? Yeah, of course they should. Because you have a team right now, for the most part, especially offensively, that is built to win now. But if you're going to throw your number 1 overall pick, who is supposed to be the guy, away because you got obliterated by 2 of the best teams in the league, then you're an idiot. And if you think that Case Keenum is the future of this team, you're an idiot. Baker Mayfield may or may not be the guy. It's not for us to determine. And is he holding this team back? Name me a quarterback who would have played better. Well, not even that. Name me a quarterback who would have survived Sunday. The truth is, the Pittsburgh Steelers murdered the Cleveland Browns at every aspect of the game. Put Josh Allen behind there, same result. Put Lamar Jackson behind there, same result. Put Sam Darnold behind there, same result. So I'm not going to judge good or bad off of one game, but I will say this. The time is ticking. It's ticking. The only one who can change the course that Baker Mayfield's on right now is Baker Mayfield. Typically, his eyes and his feet are always in the right positions. He's making the wrong decisions. He is. And is he limited because of his size? Sure. But you know what? You knew that when you picked him. We've seen how he performs best We've seen how he performs worse. I don't know if Baker Mayfield is the guy long term. I thought he was for sure. I had no doubts. But the only guy who is going to change that is him. And he's got a long ways to go. Now, the good news for him is you have a really easy schedule. You have a lot of time left. And you got a lot to work with. But can you make a definite decision right now? Is he the guy, yes or no? No, you can't. And anybody tells you that you can is an idiot. The Chicago Bears made a decision on Mitch Trubisky after, 4 or 5 years of having him? And they're just now deciding. I believe it's 4 years. You can say Baker Mayfield's been in the league 3 years. That's fine. Of course, you're right. But the deal is, there's been so much changing around him that maybe it just needs some time. Maybe. Maybe not. The bottom line is we don't have an answer yet. You can predict that he will no longer be the quarterback after this year. You can predict that he will. You can say he'll get a contract. You can say he won't get extended. You can say that they won't take his fifth-year option. You can say he will. They will. That's fine. The bottom line is the only one who's going to change this is him, and he's got to prove it. We know he's got the ability. We know he's got the talent. His arm strength is NFL level. His accuracy can be NFL level. His decision-making, not so much, but it's been way better at times. It's up to him. You can't keep changing everything. And even if you do bring in a new quarterback, you're going to have to fit him into this system. Nobody ever thinks about that. It's easy for us as fans to say either one way or the other, yes, he is the guy, never doubted him. Or, no, he's not the guy, he's not talented, he sucks. The truth is, what you hear on these big talking shows, and I'm not saying you should, take what I'm saying, to be 100% truth. You should have your own opinion. But we get all emotional over these things. Truth is that the Buffalo Bills came in with Josh Allen with major inaccuracy problems. They had to really get him. They had to get what he's best at down. They had to get him in a system. They had to do a lot of things to make him the best he can be. We are seeing that right now. He's had 3 years, and now, really 2 years. So he's had 2 years in the same system, and now you're starting to see the best he can be, or at least as good as he can be. Now, I'm not saying he's been bad, but same thing with Lamar Jackson. Development. Baker Mayfield comes into the league, plays great. Other than against the really good teams, which is a problem. But he pretty much, for the most part, plays really well. He played well enough that these talking head shows were saying, is Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes the next Brady and Manning rivalry? We love to change so quick. But the truth is, the Cleveland Browns could have selected Lamar Jackson number 1 overall. It probably wouldn't have worked. They could have selected Josh Allen number 1 overall, and it probably wouldn't have worked. Consistency matters. I'm treating this season for Baker like it's his rookie year. And a lot of people really disagree with that. They think, well, you've been into the league 3 years now. You should be able to come in and play fine immediately. Sometimes you just need time. And to be honest with you, if you really want to know my complete opinion on is Baker Mayfield the guy, I don't think we haven't seen it yet. If you're asking me based on what we've seen so far this season, it's probably not. And that pains me to say. But I think we love to jump the gun very, very early. And who knows? Who knows how the season goes? I mean, things change so quick. But I'm not ready to give up yet. And I'm also not ready to say he is the guy. Like I said earlier, if you gave me the option of Baker or Justin Fields, of course, yeah, I'm taking Justin Fields. But I don't think you're going to be able to do that. So, we've gotten ourselves in this situation right now. We just got to figure out some answers. And right now at this point in the year, we're still trying to figure out the answers. It's just where we're at. So as fans, we love to pretend like we're the GM and we know everything. And I'm a victim of that too. But the truth is, we don't know. We don't know. And I don't think Kevin Stefanski knows. I don't think Andrew Berry knows. Baker has got to come out and play better if he wants to be the guy. If you see more of what you've seen against the Pittsburgh Steelers, he'll be out the door and he'll be headed to Minnesota or headed to New Orleans. But I don't know. The time is definitely clicking. And I don't know. I want to hold on to hope, but at the same time, reality is what it is. And I do think that it's a conversation we need to have, and it's a fluid situation. He does have his good, he does have his bad, but let's just see. So, after about 30 minutes of rambling, that's my message. I don't know yet. I don't know. But I do know one thing. Case Keenum isn't the answer. Is Baker Mayfield the answer? I don't know. That's yet to be seen. So, it's hard. I think it's hard for everybody to really sit down and talk about it. Because the reality is not every quarterback is going to be Patrick Mahomes. But the truth is, this offense right now should be thriving. And they are to an extent, but there should be no reason why you can't at least contend with the big boys. So do I hope that it works out with Baker Mayfield? Of course I do. Because I don't want to see another quarterback on that jersey. I don't want to see this team drafting another quarterback, fingers crossed. I don't want to see this team swinging for the fence because they're desperate. And I think every Browns fan should hope that he's the guy too. Because anybody that wants to see their team fail is an idiot. But it is frustrating. It's frustrating because I really have no answers. I just know the time's ticking. So, let me know your thoughts. Do you believe in Baker? Do you think he can get on the right track? Are you already off the tracks? Let me know your thoughts.